In the first 6 months of life, a baby is fed exclusively with breast milk or formula. Complementary foods are not intended to replace breastfeeding, but only to introduce new tastes and enrich the baby's diet. Feeding a baby is another manifestation of love and trust, an act of communication and cognition of the world. Because for a baby, a mother is the whole world. But then the baby grows up, makes attempts to sit up, and becomes interested in what adults eat. We start introducing new foods to the baby at 6 months of age. Before that, his only food is breast milk or formula, according to the American Academy of Pediatrics. The main criterion for readiness is food interest. How do you know if your child has it? Take your baby to the family table. If you are not used to eating as a family, start this tradition. Eating together brings you closer together. Allow your child to touch the food with his hands, lick his fingers, and swallow microdoses. Is the minimum amount of food that fits between a child's fingertips, approximately the size of a black peppercorn, of food. This is how a baby behaves when he is ready for complementary foods. Is visibly interested in what other people are eating, opens his mouth when a spoon is brought to him, does not push or spit out food, turns away when not hungry, confidently holds his head and sits with support. How to start baby on solids. 1. Choose the type of baby food, puree or pieces. Today there are 2 ways to introduce complementary foods. The traditional spoon feeding, TSF, food is introduced according to a schedule. Foods up to 8 to 10 months old are mashed. The child is fed with a spoon. Baby-led weaning, BLW, foods are offered to choose from and the child chooses what to eat. The food is not ground. Feeding is done in pieces according to the principle. What the child takes and brings to his or her mouth, he or she eats. Are you a parent looking for a new approach to feeding your little one? BLW might be just what you're looking for. Since its introduction in 2001 by Gil Rapley, BLW has been growing in popularity among parents in the UK, New Zealand, and some European countries. So, what is BLW all about? It's a method of feeding that puts trust in infants to know what they need, when and how fast to eat, and how much food they want in the eating process. Parents offer family meals to their children and encourage them to feed themselves, which can lead to a more diverse diet and a preference for finger foods. This approach allows babies to learn about real foods in terms of appearance, texture, and flavor, rather than just purees. But how do you know if your baby is ready for BLW? Look out for indicators like opening their mouth more often, putting their hands in their mouth, or grabbing for food during family meals. And once they start, BLW infants control how much they eat, just like they did while breastfeeding. BLW infants continue to receive milk, whether it's breast milk or formula, and family meals are offered in small, semi-solid portions that vary in consistency as the child develops. Unlike the traditional spoon-feeding approach, which doesn't introduce finger foods until later, BLW encourages infants to taste and distinguish their foods one by one. Remember, the most important thing is to make sure that the complementary foods are safe, given at the right time, and adequate. And as always, consult with your pediatrician before starting any new feeding approach. So why not give BLW a try and see if it's the right fit for your family? 2. Start slowly. Take it one step at a time. Gradually increase the volume if you see that the child wants to eat more. Gradually add new foods, 1 or 2 a day. Except for allergens, they should be introduced 1 food every 3 days. It is better to give new foods in the morning. Don't be upset if your baby eats little. The purpose of complementary foods in the first months is not to feed the baby, but to introduce new foods and flavors. Especially if the baby is breastfed, he or she may eat very little regular food. Start off with introducing solids at 1 meal a day, then slowly work your way up. The volume of a portion of food for a child under 1-year-old is like 2 children's fists. 3. Try to keep the food on offer varied. Approximate composition of a balanced meal: 25% of foods that are rich in protein, meat, fish, egg, nuts, legumes, 25% whole grain cereals, 50% vegetables and fruits. 4. At any age, complementary foods are not a substitute for breast milk or formula. If the child wants it, milk can be offered after meals. The American Academy of Pediatrics recommends providing your baby only breast milk for approximately 6 months after birth, and supports continued breastfeeding, along with introductory foods. You should continue breastfeeding after introducing foods at 6 months for as long as you and your child wish, for 2 years or beyond. Check with your child's doctor about the recommendations for vitamin D and iron supplements during the first year. The number of complementary foods per day according to the child's age. Up to 8 months 1 time, from 8 to 10 months 2 times, from 10 months 3 times, from 12 months 3 meals plus 2 snacks. In the next video, we'll explore the complementary foods and discover how to introduce allergens safely. We hope you learned something new and found this video interesting and fun. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this.